Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. This is episode 77 of the American Reveille podcast, and these are some strange damn times. I bet you can agree with me. These are some strange damn times, and getting stranger by the day, apparently, because now we've got Russia. You know, Russia, Lenin, Stalin, genocide, Russia. You know, that place, calling us out for persecuting people, for acting like socialists, for basically following in their own footsteps. And to tell you the truth, I don't know whether or not it's because we've actually switched roles or because maybe Russia's virtue signaling at this point. I'm not sure either way, but we're going to figure it out together, and then we're going to have a laugh at the end. All right, folks, stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing today? 77th episode, American Reveille podcast. I hope you liked the last one we put out, the Ted Cruz episode. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm going to have a lot of fun making this one as well, because normally when Russia is calling out the U.S. for human rights issues, it's kind of like one of those pot calling the kettle black situations, right? It's kind of like, how could you say anything to us with all the things you guys have done? But we're in a very strange situation. 2021 is a strange year. It's been a strange couple years, right? And so we have to ask ourselves, have we done a little swap? Have we done a little switching? I know Putin's not the nicest guy in the world, but at the same time, has he found some weird balance in his country? And are they calling out actual oppression in the United States? Now, some of that statement could be true or false, but there is one big truth, and that's the last part of that statement. People are experiencing oppression. And it's not minority classes entirely. There's white people experiencing oppression as well. Black people, it's class oppression. It's the middle class. The middle class in the United States right now is being oppressed, especially the conservative, right-leaning, libertarian, anything right of extreme left is under assault, is under attack. Ladies and gentlemen. All right. So there is a great oppression taking place, and it's almost like it's all being ignored or thrown under the rug, as if white people and any person, right, of a certain class, a certain wealth class that judges equity, that doesn't believe in socialist policies and progressive point of views, that just wants to live with their God, their guns, in their land, and just live the good life. We've got a problem, right? The left has a problem with you. So people are getting fired, right? People are getting their lives destroyed, exposed, doxxed, threatened, beaten. People have been raped. People have been killed. People have been killed because they are Trump supporters, ladies and gentlemen. You know it. I know it. Let's not pretend it hasn't happened. So when I see an article that says Russia blasts Biden regime for persecution of Trump supporters and political dissidents, years ago, we would look at that with skepticism, with a strange face, with hesitance. But these days, folks, I think they may be right. All right. Do me a favor, guys. Before we go any further, I linked this on Odyssey. I know I did. So if you're not a current subscriber and you saw this on Odyssey and it came up, do me a favor right there. There's a box that'll come up. If you just click on the icon in the upper right corner, it's my little logo. You click on that. It'll take you to the main Odyssey page, right? And you just hit the follow, boom, and you hit the little notification bell right next to it, boom. It'll be on the right-hand side. It looks like a heart, and it says follow or subscribe, something like that, and there's a little bell right next to it. Please, please, please do me that favor. YouTube is unreliable. I'm shadow banned there, so I need you to help me. I really, really need this from you. Go to Odyssey, Odyssee, all right? Like I said, there'll be a link below. All right. There'll be a link below if you need it. Go there. Please, please, please sign up, subscribe, hit the notification bell. All right. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's start getting into it. Russia blasts Biden regime for persecution of Trump supporters and political dissidents. Russia calls on the United States to observe the human rights of political opponents. And it's weird to say, it feels weird coming out of my mouth, but I'm happy that Russia stood up and said this because it is happening. It's true. All right. It's true. This article, folks, is by Eduardo Rivero. If any leftists hear this, I'm canceled right there, but that's okay. February 17th, 2021, it was written, but it is just as relevant today on the 20th as it was on the 17th. The Russian Foreign Ministry has issued a statement, folks, lambasting the United States government under Joe Biden for the ongoing persecution campaign taking place against anybody at all who does not agree with the results of the latest presidential election. In the statement, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova, there we go, delivered a scathing assessment of the human rights situation in the United States under President Joe Biden. That's right, folks. There's a human rights situation taking place here. Zakharova described the ongoing crackdown against Trump loyalists in the United States. The FBI has reportedly opened more than 400 criminal cases and applied for more than 500 search warrants and subpoenas for suspects. It's also brought charges against and detained around 200 people. Only several dozen defendants have been released on bail or placed under house arrest. The others are being subjected to harsh pressure with members of their family and social circle being coerced into giving a convenient testimony. Moreover, people who have not even been officially charged with losing their jobs, they are being banned from social media and publicly ostracized. It should say then, ... We know we have many years of experience with this. She also questioned the objectivity. I'm doing the accent for those listening, by the way, on Apple Podcasts or any of the Google things out there like Spotify, Amazon, all that stuff. I'm doing the accent in the quotes, right? So when she's talking, that's the accent, all right? It's not just me doing the accent for fun, though. That does happen in some podcasts. She also questioned the objectivity of the law enforcement agencies involved in this campaign, noting that they were acting under orders and in line with the narrative of the current administration, who declared the events of January 6, 2021 a riot, and everybody who was near the U.S. Congress on that day, all but plunderers. Plunderers, damn it. Plunderers. That kind of sounded like a New York accent at the end there. Listen, guys, I have to keep doing this. After a couple years, it'll sound like a Russian person, all right? I'm sure you'll hear that accent 10,000 more times. She went on to correctly note that far from being violent rioters, most of the attendees of the January 6th rally were peaceful protesters. That's not a lie. She's telling the truth. As much as I'm joking and making fun here and doing the accent and having a good time, she's not BSing. She's telling the damn truth. In fact, the majority, it's a girl, maybe I should. In fact, the majority of those people who are ordinary, okay, that's driving me crazy too. Let's just read it. Ordinary concerned citizens, all right, about the situation in their own country. She said there were 74 million voters who voted for their president and defended their views. She warned that the administration's crackdown would not solve the widespread discontent towards Biden's rule. It's true. Their protest will not just go away. You can't just sweep discontent under the rug. Even the rhetoric that the United States allows itself to use with respect to Russia will not help distract public attention from the country's own problems. They will have to be dealt with. U.S. citizens deserve to be treated according to the law and in line with Washington's international obligations. We should know. It should say that again at the end of this. We should know what happens when you try to do these things to the public. Oh, shit. In this context, all right, She called the U.S., by the way, to respect. She called on the U.S. to respect the basic human rights of Trump supporters. And we at the American Reveille agree and are calling upon them to respect the basic human rights of us Trump supporters. I agree with that. They should. If we're going to respect them, they need to respect us. That's why when they call for unity, it's such BS. It's such garbage. It's such nonsense. It's a lie. It's a sham. You're being bamboozled, ladies and gentlemen, because they only want unity amongst the left, not amongst any of us. They want us to just bow and bend the knee. So until they respect us, what do they expect? It's not good, ladies and gentlemen. In this context, we have every reason to express concern and demand that basic human rights be observed, she added. U.S. officials are constantly and hypocritically taking care of these rights when it comes to other countries, and yet they have no scruples in ignoring them at home. Ugh! Oh, burn. It's true. I hate to say it. That's a true fact. All right. We do that here. We police the world. We take care of everybody else's problems. We'll go solve Russia's human right problems. But we Trump supporters are getting shit on. We can't talk in public half the time about our beliefs without being persecuted. People get beat up. People are being murdered. How is that not a violation of basic human rights? And far before murder or rape, it was a violation of our basic human rights. So again, Russia on point. As the human rights situation continues to deteriorate in the United States, it's becoming apparent to the world that Trump supporters are a repressed group in Biden's America. Folks, that's not a lie. That is what's happening right now, and we need to pay attention to what other countries say. Just like there's news that comes from here, there's news from all over the world with different views and perspectives. Some of those the truth, some of those BS, but still all of it worthy of paying attention to. And when other countries are saying that there's a deteriorating human rights situation in the United States, and we the Trump supporters, are the actual victims of it, we need to be paying attention. All right. Red flag alert. Beep, 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 beep. I know I'm making this like crab fingers over my head, but that was me actually like poof, red flags just appearing everywhere. It was not the best hand gesture for it, and I'll do my best to never do it again. Ridiculous. All right. Ridiculous. So I decided to do a ridiculous article next, just like we did a ridiculous article at the end of the last one. I wanted to try it out on this one too. I thought it would be funny because it's ridiculous, truly ridiculous, a true sign of the times, a warning, not even a warning, the proof that America has become unrecognizable when Russia is calling us out for human rights violations. So in the spirit of ridiculousness, though that is true, I will be reading an article that may not be true, is totally ridiculous, but is very befitting to the leftist agenda. And it, I don't know, I laughed my ass off when I saw it. So listen to this, guys. Joseph Stalin posthumously, I always mess that word up, posthumously. All right. I had this I'm supposed to rock it in. Joseph Stalin. I was going to do a whole Joseph Stalin posthumously identifies as a strong woman of color to deflect the criticism of the socialist policies. I was going to do it like that originally, but then I couldn't say posthumously properly because I'm an idiot. Plain and simple. This came out March 4th, 2019. It's an older article, but I think time doesn't exist in the realm for which it has come from. Ladies and gentlemen, this article is being reported from a hot place down south. And I'm not talking about Commercial Boulevard in South Florida. No, I'm talking about hell. H-E double hockey stick. Here's a report, folks. In a statement offered to reporters during a 15-minute recess from hell, dictator and mass murderer Joseph Stalin has announced that he now identifies as a strong woman of color in order to deflect criticism away from his socialist policies that killed millions. Socialist policies kill millions. Let's just put that at the end. I could just end the podcast right on that because that's the truth, right? And by the way, before we read this, I feel like all of the leader, like me and all of all the personnel, like all of us, we should all just in one voice, just identify, just choose to become a strong woman of color. If we all just become, that's the rule, right? They just say it. They go, oh, we're transgender now, or we're this now, or we're that now. And before you hate me, I know there are people out there, all right, that are born a certain way. I get it. And I respect that. They can do what they want. And most of those people, they don't give a shit, right? Those people are doing what they need to do to be happy in their lives. All right. And you know who I'm talking about. There are many in the LGBT community like that. All right. But then there's a bunch of people as well. And I'm only saying the truth. I'm only saying what people think. There's a bunch of people as well that have to shove it down your throat. All right. And aren't happy unless you allow them to invade your personal space and privacy. All right. Your personal liberty, your boundaries. When in fact, we should all have the equal respect for each other, the equal respect of each other's boundaries. All right. I don't rub my life in your face. You don't rub your life in my face. Don't judge me. All right. This is how it's going to work. This is how it's going to be. 80 million Americans. All right. 80 million Americans. March 1st. That's what we're going to call. We're going to do it on March 1st. 80 million. We're all going to come out and identify as strong, proud minority women. All of us, even if you're a woman, even if you're a minority woman, good, you can do less work. You don't have to sign the paper or whatever that says that I'm this now because you're already that. Good for you. Hell yeah. And then what? Then we'll just watch them all implode. Then the left will self-destruct. They'll all fall apart. Wokeness will disappear. It's like the fembot. You remember Austin Powers when there was that robot in there that was trying to kill him, right? And she's got the guns come out of her breasts and they go pop, 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 right? And he was just Austin Powers. He's like, he makes all those sexy moves, shows his chest hair off, flexes, shows the robot his sexy, disgusting British teeth. And then the fembot robot's like, and her head explodes. That's what will happen to the left entirely if we all just identify as strong women of color on the 1st of March, all of us. And then after the left collapses and woke culture dies, it doesn't matter anymore. We can all just convert back to whatever it was we were before. I think that strategy may work. Anyway, I'm done rambling. You can judge me for it. You can hate me for it. Maybe I'll show up on the news tomorrow. Good. Who knows? But in the spirit of strong women of color, Joseph Stalin is now one of them. Quote, I now identify as a strong woman of color, and a lot of men simply cannot handle that. It drives them crazy. Oh, for those listening, by the way, I just did a sassily snap of my fingers in a Z pattern. All right, it's written in here. I just didn't want to say it. I wanted to act it out. It drives them crazy to know that a strong woman of color such as myself can wield so much power. Stalin stated that white men feel threatened by his accomplishments and can't possibly have any legitimate criticisms of his policies, including a centralized economy that just led to mass starvations, brutal police state, genocide, government control over every area of citizens' lives. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. In fact, that's kind of what America's starting to look like. And, when people saw this, when Stalin identified as a strong woman of color, according to the Babylon Bee, millions of people quickly apologized. They apologized to Stalin after the announcement was made. If we had only known, man, if we only knew that Stalin was a strong person of color, we wouldn't have distanced ourselves from his policies, said one moderate Democrat from New York. It's always wrong to criticize a woman, especially a minority woman, no matter how repulsive her ideas and how many people's lives they would destroy. No more. Listen, guys, Stalin sends his best wishes from the depths of Hades, and I send my best wishes to you as well. And if this is the episode that goes viral and they allow it to go viral, I wish goodbye to my job as well, because they'll fire me if they heard that I said this. But it's the truth. It's the truth. I'm only saying what we all think. It's just that all of these companies, all these people, everybody is under the thumb of the left. They're under the invisible oppression, right? The physically invisible oppression that's taking place in the digital world, that's taking place in the workplace, that's taking place right in front of our eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, I read this article to laugh, but it's also a sad thing. It's a truth. It's real. It could happen. We could do that. Honestly, I joke. I totally was kidding about everything I just said. But really, if we all just came out of the closet on March 1st and now started being, women of color, all of us, the left would just fall up and they're just blah. What? Come on. If you have a different idea of what would happen if we all did that, right? I think regardless of what happened, it would be hilarious. But if you have a different idea, I want to hear it in the comments section below. I really do. Let's interact. Let's talk about it. Put it in the comments or email it to me. If you don't want your name on there, jameslane@AmericanReveille.com. Also, if you love what we're doing and you got some production skills, some editing skills, some video skills, some art skills, some digital art skills, some legal lawyer-like skill, all kinds of stuff. This isn't just a podcast. I'm building a company, ladies and gentlemen. American Reveille LLC. We're an organization empowering and enlightening folks across this great country. All right. Giving people the information they need in an entertaining way so they can keep waking up more patriots. All right, folks. Strength in numbers all day long, baby. Strength in numbers, folks. And speaking of strength, Parler is back online. Do me a favor, head over to Parler, parler.com. If you already had a Parler account, go back, check it out. It's there, all right? If you don't, they're going to allow new people to sign up next week. That's what I read. Go to parler.com, @TheJamesLane, right there, @TheJamesLane, all right? Be one of the awesome 15,000 people that are already checking out what we do. And that number is growing fast every day, folks. So please, please, please. Also, Gab is picking up. Head over to gab.com, American_Reveille. Gab.com/American_Reveille. I'm posting there more and more as we get the interactions up. But Gab is a decent alternative. I did hear that Trump is interviewing people to make his own social media platform. So that'll be interesting when it happens too. And like I said earlier, all right, if you're watching this on Odyssey, which you most likely are, head over to the upper right-hand corner, all right? If you're not already in an area that has a follow button, hit the icon on the upper right that looks like not the icon on the upper right, but wherever the icon is that you see my seal of my podcast, that icon will take you to my main profile page. And in my main profile page, that's where you'll find that follow button and that notification bell. Hit it for me, guys. We need an alternative platform besides YouTube. YouTube has me shadow banned and I need your help. All right, folks? So please do that favor for me. Sign up on Odyssey. All right. If you have any questions, I updated the website. Wait, what am I doing? Boom. There we go. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, you want to talk, you got some problems, you got something going on in your life that you need some advice for and you're not happy about it, you've had a rough time, send me an email. I'll reach back out to you. I got no problem with that, all right? I've been through a ton myself, and I seem to be able to give good advice when good advice is needed. So if anybody wants that, reach out to me, jameslane@AmericanReveille.com, REVEILLE.com. You can also go to the website, hit the contact button, and contact me through that as well. Sign up for the newsletter. That's a big one, just in case Parler goes down again. And please, 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 if you have a couple dollars to spare, whether it's $2, whether it's 10 cents, whether it's $10,000. We are trying to make this movement spread like wildfire, and we will invest everything you donate to us right back into this company to make a difference for the freedom of the people, ladies and gentlemen. And we have many big plans in the pipeline, many big things coming your way. So head to the website, www.americanreveille.com. All right, hit the support us tab. That'll take you to this page right here where you can either donate some Bitcoin or hit the support tab one more time, and it'll take you right to PayPal where you can donate any amount. All right. Again, it's not necessary. All I care about is that you talk about the American Reveille podcast. You talk about our vision, our mission, what we're trying to do. You ask questions if you're curious, and you pass it forward. Share, 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 ladies and gentlemen. That's the only way we're going to beat back this socialist monster. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. All right, thank you so much for listening. If you're on Apple Podcasts, 5-star rating. Thank you so much. Have a great night, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.